Whoa, there we go. There we go. Sorry for the late start. Technical difficulties back here. How y'all doing? We are here and we are about to talk about nephew Luke disrespecting Jill Scott, India Irie, and black culture. And then we're going to also ask a critical question. Is Dee-1 controlled opposition? I watched a lot of his Drink Champs interview and I got some questions that we are going to answer on the other side. Let's get started. We'll be getting started in about 1 minute. Let's go. All right, I'm here. What's up, y'all? A lot of y'all been telling me to cover this, but I don't really follow nephew Luke like that. I like once I saw Luke was running for office, I'm done. I'm done. I'm yeah. Like I said, hold on. That dude's running for political office. Started talking about we get some reparations, and I'm like, man, I ain't about to listen. I ain't about to vote for Two Live Democrat. Hell nah. This is Two Live Democrats? No. I ain't doing that. So we're gonna go over his video. And it was a pretty good interview between the Drink Champs and Dee-1. But it's some things that just got my spidey senses like, nah, because I'm the kind of person when I hear cliches get repeated, I'm like, are you repeating cliches? Did you ever research what you're talking about? Let me tell y'all, chat. When people are trying to give you information, it can't be from what I feel. It has to be from what I know, what I research, what I experience. When they start talking about something I feel, watch out. That's how y'all see me doing that stuff on people calling all the time. Well, I feel like I don't deal in grown man feelings. I deal in reality. So we are going to break all of that down. In the meantime, what's up, chat? What's up, Samurai Show? What's up, Dana? What's up, Donna Seaboard Shock? What's up, everybody up in here? Mods, be cool. Don't be timing people out, mods. I gotta send that warning out now. Please don't be timing people out. People can say whatever they want to say, unless they just keep saying bad jokes. If you got bad jokes, yeah, you're gonna get timed out for like 5 minutes because no one wants to not laugh at an attempt of humor. So if you're going to attempt humor, you got, this is like, look at it like baseball. You got 3 strikes. You really only got 2 strikes. If my chat room don't laugh at your unfunny, my mods will give you a 5-minute timeout to let you think of some jokes. Outside of that, say what you want to say. Just don't troll. Don't be a hoe. I gotta play that "Don't Be a Hoe" song again. I ain't done that in a while. And know that every broadcast that we do here is sponsored, not sponsored by, because it's my foundation, but it benefits my foundation, the Black American Music Family Tree Historical Foundation. Y'all see the artwork? You can get yours at Dee-1.com. The Black American Music Family Tree Historical Foundation, where I'm teaching the music and the music history and the music science. You dig? I'm still writing my blog on R&B. I thought I was going to do a simple, my blog is probably going to be like a 20,000 word blog, and I'm going to divide it probably in 6 sections. So I'm still writing on that. I'm done with 4 of the 6 sections. 4 of the 6 sections. Excuse my tongue twister. Go to subscribe to my Substack. Substack, Dee-1 B. That way you're notified every time I post an article. There will be exclusive Q&A style content on Substack and also on Patreon behind my articles. So make sure you go ahead and do that. Make sure my mic sound good. I got a new cable. I got a new XLR cable for my mic. So hopefully that sounds good for y'all. Hopefully my audio sounds good for everybody except Larry. I hope Larry's audio sounds like crumpled up paper. Everybody else, I hope the audio is good for you. Let me know if the audio is good for you. What's up, George Richard? What's up, everybody? Arlene, let's get into it. Let's talk about it. I want to first start out by saying rest in peace, George Johnson, founder of Johnson Products Company. He was one of the greatest black businessmen in American history. I say one of the greatest businessmen because in order for you to be black and make it this far, you had absolutely no help. So you're one of the greatest businessmen in American history, period. Greater than your white counterparts because they did not have to deal with what you had to deal with. So rest in peace. And he's also one of the early, a lot of hip hop owes a debt to George Johnson. Why? Because he was one of the major sponsors behind Soul Train. And hip hop, a lot of our dances got spread throughout the land through the vehicle of Soul Train. And without George Johnson's dollars, Soul Train probably would have never happened. That's why we got to own our own products, black folks, and black businesses got to sponsor. We got to sponsor our people, our artists, you know. They talk about black folks don't work together. Yes, the hell we do. Yes, we do work together, and we always have worked together. People tell them, you don't never see black folks working together. Well, nigga, open your eyes. We work together all the time. And if your environment is a little bit too ratchet, step outside of your environment and get around a different level of people and you'll see these things, okay? So rest in peace to George Johnson, founder of Johnson Products Company. All right? Now let's get to what Nephew Luke had to say. He called out. This is what he did. He's going to equate Jill Scott and India Arie with Afrocentric music. I ain't never heard not one Afrocentric song from Jill Scott. What Jill Scott and India Arie represent, they represent the class of Black American women, from Etta James to Bessie Smith, Ella Fitzgerald, your Aunt Mabel. Not no African nothing. But for him to equate wholesomeness with Afrocentric, we're going to show really how retarded Luke really is when you listen to this, what he's about to say. Let's listen to what he says, and then we're going to react.
If everybody lived in the world of Jill Scott and all music was Jill Scott and India Arie and Afrocentric, we would be bored as fuck. It's just lyrics. So when this girl, India Arie or well, whoever the hell it is, listen, I have no problem with these Afrocentric type people, but they're always jumping into the conversation of wanting art to be created like they are. If everybody lived in the world of Jill Scott and all music was Jill Scott and India Arie and Afrocentric, we would be bored as fuck. I'm sorry. I love their music. I appreciate their music. I appreciate their artistic values. But at the end of the day, why are you having a conversation about something that's considered as art? Does anybody get all upset when the man is standing up there and people are looking at the sculpture, the art sculpture, or this man with his gypsy tools out? Nobody has
gypsy tools. What?
But then it's always us. It's always black on black crime. It's always black on black crime. You never hear them talk about each other. You never hear the white women talk about the white man. You don't hear the white artist talk about another white artist. Think about it. Where is it? If everybody lived in the world of Jill Scott and all music was...
This dude is a degenerate. First off, he's saying just because she's saying don't talk about scamming is Afrocentric? Just because they're talking about not scamming? Huh? See, this is the issue when you bring degeneracy into our music. He said the music would be boring. Let's break his point down line by line, shall we? Let's go.
Jill Scott and India Arie and Afrocentric, we would be bored as fuck. It's just lyrics.
He said it's just lyrics. There's no such thing as just lyrics. Lyrics on top of a melody is a prayer, dummy. And let's go down to the point about when music will be born, because what India Arie is doing is was talking about a standard, having a standard in our music. And let's just say they're being Afrocentric. What's wrong with that? Afrocentric music is boring? Look at this. This is a Parliament. You see the pyramid? Is this not Afrocentric? You get one of the greatest samples in hip hop history from a boring Afrocentric song. Let me get to the part. Let me get to the part. Here we go. Is this Afrocentric song boring? One of the greatest hip-hop samples came out of a song with a pyramid on it, nigga. The hell is you talking about? Afrocentric music is boring. What? What? It was all kind of Afrocentric stuff going on back in the 70s and the 80s. Wasn't no damn wasn't none of that music boring. That's boring. Like the hip hop and neo soul, by the way, both thrive on an era that black music was talking about Afrocentric type stuff. Some of the greatest party music of all time coming to what? This was boring? That was boring? What is this dude talking about? You cannot talk about BS and still have good music. Rick James literally wore Afrocentric braids. And he was way colder than you, Luke. Those was Bantu braids that Rick James had in his head. I'm playing these songs for a reason. Who do you? Girl, who do? Why am I playing these songs? Because people think just because you're not talking about ratchetness, you all of a sudden gotta be bored. You got the Spirit album, Getaway. I mean, Afrocentric. Luke, have you not studied what this? How you know Luke ain't from the culture? Have you not studied the culture that your music is thrived in? There was a time Black Americans danced to music, and still, and matter of fact, dance more. They not dancing to this shit. Ain't nobody dancing to no Young Miami. Songs like Mighty Mighty, we're the mighty people of the sun. That's one of the hottest dance songs of the year of 1974. And it's a song talking about we are the mighty, mighty people of the sun. And in our heart lies all the answers to the truth you can't run from. We literally had a whole era of music that, well, I'm going to say era. We've had a lifetime of music up until the late 80s where all the music was, well, I'm going to say all of it, where you had a balance. You have positivity and negativity. But the biggest dance music was oftentimes positive. This is like, so we would just be bored if this was. What are we talking about here? What are we talking about here? Let's keep going on what Nephew Luke had to say.
So when this girl India, Irie, or well, whoever the hell it is. These, listen, I have no problem with these Afrocentric type people, but they're always jumping into the conversation of wanting art to be created like they are. If everybody lived,
and they're going to think India Ari never. First off, Jill Scott didn't even say anything, so why Jill Scott sketching strays, I don't know. But India Ari said nothing about the art being like her art. She's saying don't push certain values. No one is saying don't let the art be like their art. But let's tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth. If you go back to my interview I did with Lonzo Williams from the Wrecking Crew, he talked about those early hip hop parties that they had in the early 80s, late 70s, into the 80s. Whenever they didn't want to fight, whenever they saw a fight was about to break up, they would just play some Funkadelic, some Parliament. Whenever he said whenever they didn't want a fight to break out, and they wanted people to dance, it went here. Did he have to talk about scamming to get you to dance? See, this is what happens. We used to have. That's the difference between creative people. See, Luke didn't create shit. Luke had the 2 Live Crew. They're the ones that created stuff. Luke was the face. Luke didn't create a motherfucking thing. The Miami bass sound comes from Riverside, California. See, what they're trying to do is they're trying to say, oh, it needs to be gospel. Or we can listen to Young Miami because everything ain't going to be gospel. Man, there's a whole Pacific Ocean between the gospel and Young Miami. What's one of the most popular dance tunes of all time? What song gets people every single time? Whoa, whoa. India Ari didn't say make music like her. She just said make some music that has a different message. That's all. Because it's not the lyrics that's making you dance. It's the beat. It's the melody. It's the musician. It's the production that's making you dance, Jive Turkey. See, black folks, when we do it at our highest level, our dance music is the most spiritually connected. If we're going to tell the whole truth. But I always talk to you about 1979. 1979 is when not just Clive Davis, when the letter agency's plan started to take root. After 1979 is when it started to take root. When they started really messing up our sound, messing up our music. What are we talking about here?
in the world of Jill Scott, and all music was Jill Scott and India Ari and Afrocentric, we would be bored as fuck. I'm sorry. I love their music. I appreciate their music.
No, you
I appreciate
don't.
their artistic values.
He said we would be bored as fuck. So Outkast didn't bore me. They didn't talk about negative stuff. I mean, it's so many groups. But this is what happens when you have a retard on the mic.
But at the end of the day, why are you having a conversation about something that's considered as art? Does anybody get all upset when the man is standing up there and people are looking at the sculpture, the art sculpture, of this man with his genitals out?
The man can't even pronounce genitals. What does a picture of some Greek or Roman statue got to do with music? And what does it got to do with stealing?
Nobody has nothing to say about that. But then it's always us. It's always black on black crime.
There we go, right there. It's always us. It's always black on black crime. Man, shut up, nigga.
It's always black on black crime. You never hear them talk about each other. You never hear.
What? The Dixie Chicks, when the Dixie Chicks show said one thing that was liberal, white America canceled them and canceled them fast. White America went in on Charles Manson. Not Charles Manson, because he was a songwriter too. Marilyn Manson. Marilyn Manson was a big time white artist, but not without pushback from white America on Marilyn Manson's music. And also Marilyn Manson's record when it comes to messing with underage girls. White America always pushed back on Marilyn Manson when he got to be too big. What is this idiot talking about? Hell, white American talk about hell. Half of them, like you got the Swifties and you got the non-Swifties. If you run across a white American that's a non-Swiftie, listen to them talk about Taylor Swift's music. Come across a white American that's a non-Swiftie, man, they gonna talk so bad about Taylor Swift. Miley Cyrus got when she tried to come over. Remember when Miley Cyrus tried to come over to the black side for a little bit? They went in on Miley Cyrus. What is this dude talking about? They went in on Kid Rock when he went to MAGA. What is this dude talking about? This is why you can't listen to retards. And if you're a retarded person, no offense to you, but I use the word retarded. Because the term retarded, we all know what it means when we say it. I don't have to mince words. We all understand what we mean by the term retarded. You're slow. You can't get it. You can't catch up. And that's fine. I'm retarded. If I was in a track meet, I run retarded. After that second knee surgery, I can't run like a motherfucker. I can't run at all since that second knee surgery. So if you put me out there on the track with people who can run, guess what? I'm gonna be slow as hell. What does that mean? I'm gonna be retarded. In music, there are things called retards. Dun, 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 dun. That's a retard. It means to slow the song down but keep the tempo. Retard is a good word, okay? Retard is a good word. And Luke is retarded. Why is he retarded? He's retarded because he's trying to make a connection between two things that don't exist. And he's trying to make a point and then compare us as a culture. This is where he went, where I have in the title, he disrespected black culture. He's disrespecting black culture because we have standards. See, you can say what you want, and I was against C. Dolores Tucker when she was out. But I was only 10 when she was doing what she was doing. As a 10-year-old, I shouldn't know better. But we had adults that do, and that did. At the end of the day, you could say what you want about C. Dolores Tucker. C. Dolores Tucker was right. She was right about the slippery slope and where we'd end up. She was right. You can get mad at her. I don't agree with everything C. Dolores Tucker said either. I do not agree with everything she said. But overall, when you look at her grander point, C. Dolores Tucker was right. Argue with your mama. Because music is a prayer. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, X, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Now I know my ABCs. Music is a prayer. It's a song. Music tells you about what's going on. Hit the super chat. I mean, hit the foundation. We donate for the Black American Music Family Tree Historical Foundation. Show your love for the foundation and donate right now if you feel what I'm saying. Give me 5. Just give me 5. Just give me 5. 50 of y'all to drop 5, we in good position. You did? Somebody said, do you think Stacey Dash was right too? Whoever said that is again, retards. That's a retarded question. C. Lewis Tucker had research, and you compare her to Stacey Dash, that's a retarded question. And yes, this here platform tries its best to retard retards. We don't want people who are retarded to feel comfortable talking over here. I have a standard here, you know what I mean? If you want to be retarded, you got platforms like Luke's platform that you could be retarded with all day. This ain't the place. So if you ask retarded questions, I'm going to give retarded answers. This is not a comfortable place for retards. If you feel your question might not make sense, don't ask it. Nigga compare C. Dolores Tucker with goddamn Stacey Dash. Someone giving an opinion versus someone giving out research. And if you don't know the difference between opinion and research, then you're a fucking retard. Anonymous, I appreciate the 5. Thank you for that. Another anonymous, appreciate the 5. This helps the music. There is a physics of sound. Thank you, Lupe Fiasco, for turning me on to this book. I've been scanning this book every day for the last 2 weeks since I've gotten it. And talking about what the sound does to your physics. The physics behind sound. See, these are sciences that exist no matter what these retards say. Well, it's just a song. It's just a couple words. Well, God damn it, what do those words do? Now, somebody in the chat asked me, are they the same? What's up, Mama Zeke? Clinton, I appreciate the donation to the foundation. Your foundation donations go completely. YouTube don't take a piece of it. That's why I moved on from super chats. YouTube don't take a piece of the foundation donations. Oh, Lady Original, I appreciate the 5. Much appreciated. Yes. So let's break it. Lady Hotep, I appreciate the donation. So yeah, words have meaning, and not only words, melodies. The biggest. Let me go back on this a little bit. Even with her words, the thing that got people with the Young Miami song is the beat. The beat is catchy. It's that 808. It hit. If instead of saying where all my scamming ass niggas at, if you take that same beat and say where all my business owning niggas at, you can plug and play any words in that melody, in that beat, in that melody, and it's going to be a hit. Where all my property owning niggas at, it's still going to hit. You can put anything in that, and it's going to hit. Yeah, Luke has been most definitely very, very, very detrimental to our culture. Yes, he has. Luke has been what do you call it? He's been a detriment to our culture. He's been a net minus to our culture. And that takes me to this dude, Dee-1. Press number 1 if you saw Dee-1's Drink Champs. I saw a portion of it. I didn't watch it all because Brother Man's voice is kind of annoying. But, and my voice may be annoying to certain people, so salute to him. Boris Shock, I appreciate the donation. Yeah, Jill Scott's on this thing. Jill Scott's on tour minding her own business. How did she get thrown in this? And she doesn't do Afrocentric music. She does rhythm and blues. Does rhythm and blues. So let's go on to this Dee-1 thing. Let me get my timestamp. It's a couple points I want to get to that he made that I want to go ahead and salute to Dee-1. I ain't got no personal issue with Dee-1. I don't know him. Let me see. Let me see here. Let's go here. 36. Make sure I hit the like button. Make sure you hit the like button. Anonymous, I appreciate the donation. Let's listen to this when him talk about, because see, here's my issue with Dee-1. He goes really hard at the rappers, and he never mentions the industry. That's what makes me feel like he's controlled opposition. I believe in going at the rappers. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Y'all know me. I don't mind going at no rapper. Hell nah. But when you say I can't focus on the people putting it out, that's an issue. Lil D, I appreciate the donation. Listen to this right here.
He said it to you, but then I looked at the comments and it was like, how come it seems like if you want the world to be better, how come it seems like you're just attacking your people?
So
you know
first and foremost, I'm a rapper, right? So I'm immersed in the rap game and hip hop culture all day, every day.
Beautiful.
Therefore, I have a special love for us. So if some people say, hey, I'm gonna fix the problem from outside, and some people say, I'm gonna fix the problem from inside. We need both type of people.
Absolutely.
I'm the type of person that's like, yo, let me deconstruct what's wrong on the inside of this, because I'm in community with us every day. So let me not be around us, but be like, I'm just going to talk to the corporate system. No, I'm around y'all. I got your phone number. I can hit you up and really be in community. So that's why. So we want to be able to celebrate the foolishness, the ratchetness, the wretchedness, the evil, but we don't want to hear any level of accountability or consequences that come from it. That's whack, bro.
That's very whack.
Listen, bro. I'm not crazy, right? I'm just bold and I love God. Are we tired yet, bro? When you get up in the morning and you look on Instagram, what's the headlines in hip hop from yesterday? Drake sleeping with Sauce Walker's baby mama or something like that. Jay-Z getting on stage at the Roots picnic and dissing 9 or 10 people, right? If he didn't diss those people, nobody would probably be talking about his freestyle. That's not Jay-Z's fault, because that was bars. But it shows you what we have an appetite for. Low level, low vibrational content.
Absolutely.
Who are you dissing? Who died? Who got killed? Young Dolph's killer got paid $500.
And I look, when he comes in talking about this, I agree. The people are most definitely attracted to low vibration stuff. But here's my thing. Y'all notice when I did my show on the low vibrations in media, that show that had Lupe Fiasco called in when I was talking about hip hop? You can't talk about the low vibrations in hip hop without talking about Warner, without talking about Universal, Def Jam, Island Def Jam, without talking about Priority and Capitol and Universal and Republic Records and Cash Money and Interscope and these places that are white controlled. And here's the reason why I have a feel I'm feeling funny about how he talks. Because we all know, well, those because he said he's in music. When people sign that contract and the record label controls what's put out, it's the record label that decides which cut to put out. It's the record label that says, okay, talk about this and not talk about that. It's the record label that'll come to you and say, hey, we're only going to release your records where you talk about A, B, and C. If you're not balancing that conversation with what the rappers put out, you're not having a genuine conversation. What I need people to understand is this. Appreciate that, Reba Jones. This is what I want people to understand. Judith Clark, I appreciate the Cash App. Alto Johnson, I appreciate the Cash App. This is what I want people to understand. This is what I want people to understand. Being a musician is a lot like your job. It's a lot like your job. When you go to your job, you have a job description. And you are paid to do whatever is in that job description. If you don't do what's in that job description, unlike your job, so your job, you just get fired. If an artist doesn't do what's in that job description, they get shelved. So you have to talk about it in tandem. Yes. See, when you talk about it in tandem, you can at least warn the next artist if you do sign a contract, if you do sign a deal. This is what it's going to be. This is what it's going to be about. It be sounding to me as if he just goes around to crap on black folks. These are the things that have to be mentioned together. I agree, correct hip hop from the inside, but when you talking to people on the outside, let them know both sides of what's going on. Let's keep going. See, this is the part that really got me right here. Because I'm going to play something later in the interview, 2 hours into the interview. I'm going to play something that's 2.5 hours into the interview. And then I'm going to go back and play something that's 5 minutes into the interview. Because I want to point out some hypocrisy that we see right here. Y'all know me. I'll be flat out. I am the first one to defend the NWA Straight Outta Compton album. I don't defend 100 Miles and Running and all that shit. Nah, I'm a realist. But I'm the first one to defend Straight Outta Compton, because why do I defend that album? Was because I was once the lad who didn't really listen to that when it first came out. And I remember listening to the news, and the news talk about how bad the album was. And for years, I went along with it until one day when I got older, because I liked it as a kid. I loved the album as a kid. It wasn't until I got in my mid-20s, probably 30, right around the time I turned 30, I went back and listened to Straight Outta Compton as an adult. And I was like, man, this album ain't nothing of what they said it was. What he's about to say, if you talk to me before the age of 30, I would have said what Dee-1 is saying word for word. Then I took a step back and listened. And when they always want to go back and go after NWA, you gotta watch these people. I'm putting it out there, and I'm saying it, and I'm time stamping my name on it. Nigga, write it down. Any of you rappers and hip hop niggas out there that want to question me, I'ma stand boldly 10 toes down, and I dare any one of you niggas to debate me on this. The reason why NWA's Straight Outta Compton album is dissed is because it woke young black America up, and black LA up. Can't speak to the rest of America. It woke young black LA up and gave voice to what we were seeing every day. It was a message album of our environment, because crack cocaine came here first, here in Oakland. LA and Oakland got crack first. So we was already deep into the epidemic by the time it got to other parts of the country. So we had music to reflect that. White society demonized that album because they didn't want black people waking up to as to what was going on. NWA Straight Outta Compton was a message music album through and through. And I dare any nigga to tell me it wasn't. Because if you do, you only speaking on what somebody heard, not on the lyrics within the album. Let's break this down. Listen to this foolish shit he says. See, I watch out for people who don't do their research and just tell you what was commonly said. Let me see, it's 225.51. Let me see, so 225.17. Let me put this up.
Better, right? So I'm literally like Lil Wayne and Chuck D put together. You feel me? Balance. That balance. Balance. There you go.
That's balance. Yes. Yeah. I love this one always.
This right here. Listen.
NWA or Wu-Tang Clan?
Damn. I'm not going with NWA because I feel like the murder rate went up after they really came out.
You gotta be careful. We had
heard what he said. Going back to what I was talking about earlier. Remember earlier I was talking about feelings. He said, I feel like the murder rate went up. Let me tell y'all something, people. Being a teacher is not easy. It's not hard. If you're gonna put your stamp on something as a teacher, you gotta do the research. And if you haven't researched something as a teacher, shut the fuck up. Because people don't have times for your feelings. Listen to this man talk about his feelings, and then I'm going to point y'all to the real truth. Listen to this. Listen again.
I feel like the murder rate went up after they really came out.
You got to be careful. We had...
He said, I feel like the murder rate went up. Well, let's check that. NWA Straight Outta Compton came out in 1988-89. Mind you, the murder rate had been steadily going up since the 70s. Look at the murder rate, 1980. Here, I'm dealing with NWA. I'm dealing with Los Angeles right here because the conditions of Los Angeles is what led NWA to write "Fuck the Police." 1980. 3,200 murder. This is in the age of disco. This is funk. This is R&B. This is rock and roll. This is Steely Dan. This is the times of Alexander O'Neal and Prince and Peabo Bryson. 3,200. 32 per 100,000 was the murder rate in 1980. This is around time crack came to LA. This is around time crack got here, 1980. You see how the murder rate stays high. Research is easy, D1. It's not hard. 1986, homicide rate, 29. 1988, when Straight Outta Compton comes out, the murder rate goes to 32 murders per 100,000. In 1990, it ticks up slightly in 1990. To 33 murders per 100,000. Then it maxes out in 1991, 92 at 34. So basically, between the time NWA Straight Outta Compton drops, the murder rate went up 1 per 100,000 residents. And then look what happens. Death Row Records come out, bow wow wow, yippee yo, yippee yay, 1993. The murder rate takes a significant drop after 93. Why did the murder rate drop after 1992 in LA? Chat. Why did the murder rate drop after 92? What happened in 1992? Oh my God. The thing that NWA was complaining about, Rodney King. Rodney King happened in 91. 92 is when we rioted. Fuck the Police, Dope Man, All those songs were about systemic issues in Los Angeles, California. Those songs brought voice to systemic issues in Los Angeles, California, rapping through the third person. We rioted. What we rioted about in LA, what we were complaining about, got answered. They took away the batons from the police. They made police start being accountable. There was a federal investigation on the LAPD. They rebuilt LA with jobs. When I was a kid in 91, 90, before the riots, we always had to go to Culver City, to West LA, to Santa Monica, to Marina Del Rey, to Beverly Hills to get anything good. There was nothing that was, you couldn't go to, there were no sporting goods stores on Crenshaw. We didn't have a Walmart. We didn't have a Target. We didn't have a Ross, a Marshalls, a Mervyn's. We didn't have none of that stuff on the Crenshaw district. After them riots, though, the police pulled back their BS. We got resources, and the murder rate went down. By the time Tupac dies, the murder rate is down 10 points from when Fuck the Police came. So from Fuck the Police to the death of Tupac Shakur in 1996, the murder rate went down by 10 points. Meanwhile, you got these goofies talking about something. I feel like. That's why y'all can't listen to people who talk about their feelings. Fuck your feelings. Listen to this again.
I'm not going with NWA. Because I feel like the murder rate went up after they really came out.
I feel like the murder rate went up. Does that graph say the murder rate went up? Or did NWA bringing voice to what was going on after that the murder rate went down? These are the fucking facts, nigga. See, what we got to do is we got to be smart enough to understand the difference between a song that's telling a story and a song that's promoting violence, promoting something. Promoting something is making it cool. Where all my scamming ass niggas at, that's promoting something. If NWA was saying, you know, because it was some gangster rap as the 90s went along, yeah. Gangster rap as the 90s went along, it does most definitely promoted some stuff. Yes, it did. I ain't gonna say it didn't. Especially once Death Row got in, like Death Row started promoting some things. Not Straight Outta Compton. Not that album. That album brought voice to a reality. Now, juxtapose that to what he was saying here about Nas. This is why I say people that say that about NWA are full of shit. Because it all comes down to who you like. NWA did reality rap based on what we saw. I told y'all before, when I went back to go see NWA, listen to NWA in my 30s, I was like, hold on. All these dudes are doing is talking about what I saw when I was a kid. I'm back there listening like, damn, for like 10 years, 15 years, I've been repeating what I've been told about NWA. And I went back and listened to it as an adult. I was like, everything about this album is telling you not to do it. Everything. But listen to how it is when he compares it to Nas. Listen to this.
I look at Nas, right? And Nas is one of my favorite first albums. But if you want to tell you and go through Nas's that first album, I wouldn't say he was glorifying, but he was putting a magnet on street life. He was doing it in such a poetic manner, like how Rakim was doing it, that it might have came across like he was glorifying it. But really, for me, he was describing the neighborhood that I was very familiar with. So me being away, I was away at the time, and when this album came out, like, I couldn't critique it and be like, I'm saying I wasn't on that anyway, but I couldn't be like, man, this is bad. Like he's describing the hood. He's describing the hood as like he's making it sound good. But for a person when I was locked away with people, for a person from Brooklyn, they were like, man, they felt like they was in Queensbridge. Like me, I felt like I was revisiting a neighborhood that I already knew. But it was, but I don't think that was glorifying it.
Right.
But it did have a magnifying glass to it. Is it possible to be both?
It's definitely possible to narrate with a magnifying glass without glorifying. Right? Some people glorify stuff and they make it sound like, no, I'm just painting a picture. I'm painting a picture.
Right.
But if you're making that picture sound extra cool and extra appealing to people, then you're glorifying and you got to stand up for it.
Okay.
That's just like.
So he says, okay, to put a magnifying glass to it. So what's the difference between Illmatic and Straight Outta Compton? What's the difference? How is it one is art and the other one? See, that's the thing about. That's why I say music is regional. And LA has its own regional sound. LA hip hop is New York. Hip hop is not New York culture. New York hip hop is New York culture. Hip hop is Black American culture, and it's a culture reflected upon your immediate environment. What T.I. and what they do down in Atlanta is different than what they did in Houston, which is different than what we do in L.A., which was different than L.A. and Oakland, completely different hip hop scenes. It's because you're rapping about what you see.
The police coming straight from the underground. A young nigga got it bad cause I'm brown.
A young nigga got it bad because he brown. Meaning back then, for those of you who are younger, Mexicans weren't even part of the picture back then. So we're talking about 1988 LA. You only saw Mexicans if you crossed in the 710 freeway. You didn't really see Mexicans in LA. He used brown because it rhymes with underground. He wasn't talking about Mexicans because it'd be somebody from the South talking about something. See, that's the problem with LA. Y'all got all them people. Y'all, everybody. No, it was, no. But what's wrong with this? And not like, so the police think they got the authority to kill a minority. Fuck that shit, because I ain't the one. For a punk motherfucker with a badge and a gun to be beaten on and thrown in jail, we can go toe to toe in the middle of a cell. Fucking with me because I'm a teenager. Searching my car, looking for.
Searching my car, looking for the product, thinking every nigga is selling narcotics.
Looking for the product, thinking every nigga is selling narcotic. Chat room. I don't care what you say. That's the reality of 1988 LA. And guess what? They don't do that anymore. Why? Because when the riots happened, when we spoke up through our music, they stopped. See, back then, y'all, I can't speak for your city, but I remember riding my bike as an 8 and 9-year-old up and down Slauson, up and down Broadway, up and down Crenshaw, and seeing this. You riding your bike, da-da-da-da-da-da. Police got black men on the ground, and they going through their backseat. They used to rip the seats. The police used to go through with a knife and cut the seats of black men's cars, saying you got drugs. They would literally cut the seat. And then they would pull seats out. You would be riding your bike down the street, and you would see 3 or 4 black men hemmed up, and their front seat is sitting on the curb. Their back seat is cotton all over the place because the police went through with a knife and cut it all up. Our reality in LA in the 80s and the 90s was way different than anything going on. That shit was fucked up. We had the battle ram. And even though I came along later when the police did these practices less, at the time Q wrote this was the reality that we all saw. even if it didn't directly affect you. They didn't get my dad's car, but they got my neighbor's car. NWA. See, when people talk about NWA influenced me to be a gangster, nigga, that was on you. There wasn't no gangster influence in that. Let me keep going. So he shows you there that, okay, if I like the guy, it could be artistic expression, or I can just repeat cliches. And that's what he's doing. He's repeating cliches. It's easy to go there to the NWA thing because we've been hearing that over and over and over again for 40 years, coming up on 40 years now.
People in New Orleans who
let's keep going. Let's keep going.
I feel like the murder rate went up after they really came out.
You gotta be careful. We had
already debunked that.
We had special ag.
Appreciate the Cash App, Gail.
Come in here and say that
it's crazy.
They messed up the West Coast music by bringing the gangsters to it. And when I tell you the West Coast people, man, they were going crazy. So
just because you get mad doesn't mean that it's not true.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
No, D1, just because you repeat a cliche doesn't mean it's true. I just showed you right there how the murder rate went down after the riots. Why the LA riot? LA riot because we rioted because of what Ice Cube and NWA was complaining about in Straight Outta Compton. The issues in Straight Outta Compton are the issues that got put on national TV through Rodney King. Rodney King proved NWA right. See, any thinking person who's also listening, it takes two things. You got to think, you got to listen. You got to listen. Listen first. Listen. Listen. You have to listen. You have to listen. You listen, and then you process. You listen. The number one tool of being a teacher is, because as teachers, we talk a lot, but you got to listen. And I know it's hard. When you talk all day, I know it's hard for me. I talk all the goddamn time. When you talk all the time, it's very, very, very hard to listen. Lady Hotep, chill. We trying to... That's why I'm looking at my chat. I agree, Lady Hotep, but hey, chill. But now let's keep going.
The glorification of gangster life, of violence, started to become more and more cool when NWA came out. There's people in New Orleans who have told me, huge rappers who I won't say their name, who have told me, boy, when that NWA came out, that's what helped me jump off the porch.
Well, y'all was wearing Dickies. Y'all was wearing Reebok.
See, that's where I call cap. Not saying that. See, if you go and jump off the porch to fuck the police, then you was going to jump off the porch. I got a question. If NWA was so influential, why did NWA influence you niggas to ride in your city? Everybody's cops. I don't care what city you in. If you black, your cops are corrupt. Why? Where was the riot in your city? If they were so influential, how many of y'all was shooting the dope man like NWA said? That's why I call cap. Because on the song Dope Man, the song Dope Man was about killing the drug dealer. How many of y'all killed the drug dealer in your neighborhood? Were you listening? Dope Man is about killing the drug dealer for what it's about killing the drug dealer for poisoning our community. Let's go back to Spotify and these words. Why didn't end up one of the most popular songs is Express Yourself,
And perpetrating
a remake of Charles Wright and the Watts 103rd Street Band song Express Yourself.
Don't agree with how I do this. I get straight and meditate like a Buddhist.
I get straight and meditate like a Buddhist. Why didn't NWA cause you to get straight and meditate like a Buddhist? In this same song, Dr. Dre raps, I don't smoke weed or cess. This song is all about not smoking weed. Oh, I smoke a lot of weed, so that part didn't get to me. This song, Express Yourself, is about not smoking weed. He's talking about getting straight by meditating like a Buddhist. This song is all about expressing who you are from the inside.
I still express, yo, I don't smoke weed or cess, cause it's known to give a brother brain damage.
I don't smoke weed or cess. Now, Dr. Dre will later on with the Chronic flip that up. But we're talking about NWA because Dee-1 said NWA. We talk about NWA influenced people to jump off the porch. Well, why didn't it? See, this is what we mean by balance. Even if I'm being critical of the problem with what's going on with the Young Miami song isn't necessarily just her song in a vacuum. It's about the lack of balance. NWA said, fight against the police, kill the drug dealer, and express yourself. Why didn't this aspect of the music get inside you or your homeboys, Dee-1? I'm going to tell you why. Because that aspect of them was already inside. Jumping on the porch was already inside of them. And instead of people taking personal responsibility for jumping on the porch, they wanted to go and blame something that's convenient to blame. NWA gave you a song called Something to Dance To. And y'all still talking some Dr. Dre being phony. Dr. Dre was what, 20 when this came out? It's not about being phony, nigga. See, some of y'all be doing way too much. Dr. Dre wasn't phony. He was a teenager. He was 20. I didn't smoke weed either. If you talk to me at 20, guess what? I don't smoke weed or cess either when I'm 20. I didn't start smoking weed till I was 23. It's not about, we grow. That's part of life. Some areas we grow in, some areas we fall back and go off the wrong path. Some areas life isn't a straight line. We grow, we regress. We grow, we go through BS, we overcome BS. We're really great over here and we suck over there. That's why we're talking about having the variety in the music. Because as human beings, we experience it all. I wouldn't have an issue with the Young Miami song if the industry was pushing things that are on the opposite end. He wasn't phony. He was younger. I didn't smoke weed when I was 20. I didn't even drink. I had my first drink when I turned 21. That's how much of a straight lace I was back then, still is. I didn't even smoke. I didn't even drink till I was 21. By the time I was 25, I was down a whole bottle of Hennessy at once and talking every bit as straight as I am right now. We go through ebbs and flows, ups and downs. Mr. Smoke said he started smoking at 15? Damn. 15. I didn't start smoking weed till my last year in college. And it wasn't the music that made me do it. It was them white boys I was in the band with. I played the drums in the band. Where that CD at? Oh, it's not over here. If I had the CD, I would show you. Because I had a CD somewhere around here. I played the drums with these white boys. And they all smoke weed. And that's when I started smoking. So let's keep going.
Box, and that was kind of like a West Coast
That was
thing.
some West Coast stuff.
Yeah.
So the influence was real, right? And we could try to pull extract as much positivity as we want out of that stuff. But at the end of the day, man, like the glorification of violence inside of hip hop, anybody that helped contribute to that and make it sound like cool, I'm not cool with that. The glorification of pimping, the glorification of disrespecting women, I ain't cool with that. So
see, and here's the thing. This is why I always want to expand it past hip hop. There's a difference between glorifying violence and talking about what you see. We got to be smart enough to know the difference. But they know most people aren't smart enough to know the difference, so they'll throw some cat like this out here to group it all together. Outlaw Country has violence. It's a song called Stagger Lee. There's songs with Big Joe Turner that had violence. Violence has always been a part of music. Death metal, outlaw country. Black American music is the last. Do you know that we're the last ones to get around to violence in the music like that? To have like gangster rap, quote unquote gangster rap came around what? Late 80s, early 90s, late 80s? Outlaw country been around since the 60s? Death metal's been around since the 70s. Gore has been around since the 80s. Have y'all ever heard of a genre called gore? Gore is some sick shit. Gore, they talking about chopping people's heads off and fucking their brains. I mean, literally. And I do agree with him from the point of view of, yeah, we do got to watch our lyrics. But we're not about to compare a song about scamming to somebody that's observing the neighborhood that they're living in. Let's say you do a song about scamming. If you got a verse talking about something, I seen a scammer, I seen this person scam that person, and you write a whole rap about an interaction between what a scammer does. You could write a rap from the scammer's point of view of how they trying to get over because they couldn't get a job because of things that was happening in life, or you write it from the person who was scammed point of view. There are certain artistic expressions that a talented, going back to the word talented, a talented writer can write, and I'll be like, all right, okay. But when you say things, when you elevate and uplift the thing, it's far different than talking about what it is. Going back, let's keep going.
NWA, unfortunately, while as individuals, I love all them brothers, right? I love them as individuals, but I don't think that was a positive contribution to our culture.
Mm-hmm. Strength, brother, strength.
That's what I mean.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Okay. J. Cole or Kendrick Lamar?
Going around. Hey, I'm live. I'm gonna hit you right back. All right, I got you. Email it. All right. Mm-hmm. So we see what's going on right here. Here's the reason why I think I go back to calling this controlled opposition, because it doesn't get to solutions. When you're focused on what happened 30 years ago, 40 years ago, how do you fix now? How do you fix the present when you're lying about what happened in the past? How do you fix that? Huh? I'm gonna open up the phone line now. 323-705-5150. We can talk about Luke. We can talk about D1. We can talk about Luke. We can talk about D1. Because this is one of the things that pointed out to me right here.
To death.
Yeah.
Right.
Let me tell y'all something, man. The first time I ever felt like a hypocrite in my life, my best friend got murked. He got killed. You heard me? We grew up wanting to be just like the Hot Boys. Just like them, right? So when I saw my best friend turning into a gangster in real life, really jumping off the porch, really committing these crimes, really living that, and then eventually he got murdered, right? I'm at his funeral. I'm a pallbearer. I'm crying at the funeral. But when I get in the car after the funeral, the music that I already had on in rotation was music glorifying murder. And for the first time, with tears in my eyes, I felt like a hypocrite. I froze.
I respect that.
And I said, I'm mourning the death of my friend, but I have an appetite for music that glorifies death. Lord have mercy. Something has to change.
And how old were you when
I was 23 years old.
Okay.
I had just graduated college. I was a middle school teacher. And
See, that's part that always throw me off. I never had an appetite for that kind of music. That's why I didn't truly understand what NWA was saying until I was 30-something. I had to go back and listen to it. I've always liked melodies and stuff like that. I never was in the streets. I find people like that are real heavy on the Bible thumping. Most of your Bible thumpers were people who spent time in the streets. And no disrespect to the streets. No disrespect to the streets. But y'all got to understand, everybody wasn't out there in them streets like y'all. That's not the world most of us lived in. Most people weren't in the streets like that. Most. Even with the NWA thing, most people were still squares. And also what it does is, when you go back to NWA, you miss what really harmed black music. NWA, when you get to 100 miles and running, I don't speak on that. That's when they became a caricature of themselves. 100 miles and running. That most definitely was on some BS. But at the same time, there was so much other music at the time, but we don't get into what's really harming hip hop a lot today. And I will contend, and y'all can debate me on this. I'll go so far as to say the shiny suit rap is far more dangerous than gangster rap. Did y'all hear me? I'll go so far as say shiny suit rap was more dangerous than gangster rap. Why would I say that?
Wow.
It's because people will kill to get the shiny suit and the hoes. Most violence that happens, I'm gonna get right to you, caller. Most gang violence, and I'm someone who worked on the street for more than 10 years with the kids and they have friends that are all in the LA gangs. Most gang violence is over hoes and clothes. It's over women and it's over money. Money and women. Most gang violence ain't, hey, you wearing the blue rag. Pow, pow, pow. Ain't nobody doing no crap like that. Ain't nobody walking around talking something, hey, he got on the red rag. Let's go shoot him. Most of your shootings and killings came because somebody screwed with somebody's gal and somebody stole somebody's money. The desire for the shiny suit is the motivating factor behind most of the murders. But the people who don't think on another level, they not going to draw that connection. They just going to repeat what they heard. It was NWA. What's up, caller? What's the name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's happening, Cat? This is Kyle Christian. I'm calling from South Carolina, via Brooklyn, New York.
Yes, sir. Can you speak up a little bit, or if you're on Bluetooth?
Yeah.
There you go.
I got you. I got you. I'm sorry about that. I was just, and man, I dig your show, dude. You really know your stuff. And I heard you talking up there with Jag, but in reference to what you're talking about right now, man, a lot of that stuff was intentional. It's the last show that you did, y'all kind of talking about the same thing. It's kind of like how I'll try to keep it as brief as possible. It's kind of like right around '96, right out of Jag's original hometown, Philly. I noticed how they kind of pushed Bahamadia album to the side, and it was the rise of Foxy Brown and Lil Kim. And Bahamadia lyrics were
I
supreme.
remember, yeah,
And
yeah.
and they didn't give her maybe budget for a few music videos off the record, and she had one particular song that was like gaining a lot of traction, especially in New York. That was that single, "You Know How We Do." But she was a dope lyricist, man, and they started to ignore a lot of that stuff that I noticed that actually sonically was like positive. The frequencies were dope. Sonically, it was great. It was real musicians playing real music. I mean, they did the same thing to Guru's Jazzmatazz projects, especially the first two that were off the chain. He did four of them.
And
And
Arrested
growing up,
Development.
no, yeah. Well, that's Arrested Development. But when Guru did those Jazzmatazz projects after he had stepped away from Premiere and they were doing their own thing, and he released those Jazzmatazz projects, those first two volumes were hit. The first volume came out in '93. The second volume is where I found out about Bahamadia. And he also had that cat, Ronnie Jordan, that guitar player out of England, out of the UK, who was doing his thing back then at that time. Real dope shit, because the second volume also featured Shaka Khan and Branford Marsalis. So people don't talk about that enough. I had the opportunity to grow up in that New York music scene, so I saw what a lot of those bands went through, from Living Color to the Family Stand to a group called I&I, even back in the day, a group called Defunct. You know what I'm saying? Joe Bowie came from St. Louis, single-handedly changed the Bowery scene in New York, man. And he had all these great players passing through his band Defunct. You know, one of them was Vernon Reid, who went on later on to form Living Color. And then the other one was a cat, his original bass player, Melvin Gibbs, who later on, with his then wife, created a group called I&I. And they caught a lot of flack in the industry a little bit later on, especially DK did. You know what I mean? I'm just saying all this stuff in passing, man. I got a chance to see a lot of this stuff, and it's like the good music they try to break up. That's why in the 90s, I'll say this in bounce, let somebody else get on. In the 90s, we only really truly had two black bands, because a lot of times you have an artist and then they cast musicians to be around that artist and support the artist. There's no camaraderie and stuff like that. And Jimmy Jam mentioned that once in that original 7 DVD. But we had Tony, we had Mint Condition. Mint Condition was probably the only black band to make it out of the 90s somewhat unscathed. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
And then we had one black band out of Philly that no one likes to acknowledge to this day, The Roots.
Well, yeah. They came along just shortly after, I would say, Mint Condition.
Yeah, Mint Condition was
Condition was running hot.
The Tonys was late 80s, Mint Condition was early 90s, Roots was mid 90s.
89 for the Tonys, that's right. 89 for the Tonys.
89, 91, 96.
And they also did their best to, and I noticed this, and I'll say this to you. I saw how they would like discard a lot of the black bands, because in 90, Ernie Isley did a solo album called High Wire that was off the chain, and it didn't get promoted. And that showed me right there how this business is, because this isn't a new Jack artist that you have to develop. This is one of the Isley brothers. You know what I'm saying? And his album didn't get promoted properly. And then the next year, on the same label, Elektra, was Eric Gales, who came out of Memphis. And his first album did well. Yeah, second album, he got pushed back.
And we talk about that because it was a 96 Telecommunications Act that changed all of that stuff right there.
That's right.
That's what it was. Right. I want to get to the next caller, my brother. Thanks for giving us a call.
Go ahead, man.
Yes, sir.
Man, peace, bro.
That's why I call it disingenuous what Dee-1 is talking about, because before 1996, as black people, we got to remember this. The last time Black America chose the song of the summer. First off, there was no song of the summer, because there was such a damn variety of music. You couldn't get one song of the summer. Hell, Poison wasn't even the song of the summer the year that it dropped. Because there was so much other goddamn good music out there. That's just asinine and stupid to think of the song of the summer. Just to even have that expectation shows you how far music has fallen. There is no song of the summer. There was a group of songs of the summer. I remember back in the early 90s, Jodeci would, from like 91 to like 95, 96, Jodeci would always drop before the summer. Can I talk to you? I really wanna meet you. Ain't no damn song of the summer. It should be a group of songs. That's tell you right there. But it's that 96 Telecommunications Act. That's, hold on, mute me, caller. That's when the record label. Oh, caller, put me on mute, caller. I can't hear. Call me back and put me on mute. That was the record labels. The last time we the people chose the who was at the top. This is why I don't put this on black culture. When we chose the artists, we always chose good stuff. This is what this Young Miami stuff is what they choose. And we're forced to listen to because it's one company that owns all the goddamn radio stations, and Spotify has these deals with Universal and these major stuff to where this stuff is forced on us. We don't even get to choose a goddamn song of the summer. What's up, caller? What's the name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's up, man? I'm calling from the SIP.
What up, from Mississippi? What's up, my brother?
Man, what's up, man? Man, what? Hey, man, I see you got the title, man. Is D-1 controlled opposition?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. I think so, man. I think it's a lot of hits and misses, man. And you know, when I look at it, you know, I think that, you know, everybody wants just the positive, right? But you know, the high is built upon the foundation of the low. You know what I mean? I've been around hip hop, man, since the inception. And I done seen a lot, you know what I'm saying, heard a lot. I heard it from the best, I heard it from the worst. You know what I mean? I heard it from the whole culture. You know what I mean? And you know what I'm saying? You know, I've been like in the street myself, man, for a long time. You know what I mean? And see, it was like I say, the high is built upon the foundation of the low. Mm-hmm. So what I experienced in my life, you know, made me the man that I am now. Mm-hmm. I could understand, you know, when it comes from NWA, what's coming from NWA, what's coming from the Chronic. You know what I mean? You know, you have to have, like, it have to be a balance. You know what I mean? It have to be a balance. It can't just be all righteous. It can't be all negative. You know what I mean? You got to have a balance. And everything don't have to be just directly pointing toward, you know, telling a story. You see what I'm saying? It's like, just say for Slick Rick, for instance, right? That was a children's story. For instance, the story that he told, and then, you know, once he got to the end, straight and narrow, or your soul get cast. You know what I mean? But he had a counterpart who was special ed. You know what I mean? Special ed kicked it the way he kicked it. You know what I mean? We heard from Brand Nubian. We heard from KRS-One. You know what I'm saying? Their album was named called Criminal Minded. You know what I'm saying? See, you could attract more flies with shit than you can with honey. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If you understand what I'm saying.
I hear exactly what you're saying. But that's why you're right. You can attract more flies with shit than honey. That's why music. That's why you got to ask yourself who you writing for. Are you writing music for flies, or are you writing it for the? Are you writing it for the birds, the eagles?
Well,
right?
you actually
we used to write to eagles. Now we writing the flies.
Yourself, right? Yeah, you freeing yourself. You know what I'm saying? You freeing yourself. You know, I'm a writer myself. You know what I'm saying? I don't write about just what I see. You know what I mean? That'll be fake. You know what I'm saying? I'm writing about what I experience on the daily. You know what I mean?
And also your aspirations, man. But I got a bunch of calls coming in, man. Thanks for giving us a call.
Hey, man. Hey, appreciate that, man.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you answering the phone. Yeah. All right.
Here's the reason why I say controlled opposition, because We all see that this is where the controlled opposition part comes in. We all see is obviously a problem with our music. Yes, it is. Anonymous, I appreciate the $5 donation to the foundation. We all see that there's a major problem going on. The controlled opposition point comes in this. Gail, I appreciate the Cash App. Reba, appreciate the Cash App. The reason why I say controlled opposition is this. The fact that everybody sees something before you figure it out, let's put a plant out here to say, hey, this is the problem. And let's use this plant to misdirect the energy. I'm not calling Dee-1 a plant. I don't know. I never met the brother. But I understand patterns and I know how the industry works. There's a major issue. People are talking about it more and more and more. So let's put somebody out there to acknowledge the issue, address the issue, and then point you in the wrong direction. That's how controlled opposition works. Controlled opposition addresses the problem better than anybody else. Then they misdirect you to something that's not an actionable solution. And let's go back to what I was saying earlier about the shiny suit era. The shiny suit era, if you're going back to break down like what really goes on in the hood. Why do people really go after each other? In Black America, it's been scientifically proven through the social sciences that Black Americans' crimes are crimes for the most part based in poverty. So you find in neighborhoods like one of the neighborhoods I grew up in, View Park, Ladera Heights, there's almost no crime in Ladera Heights. No crime in Baldwin Hills. No crime in Windsor Hills. No crime in View Park. And those are all black neighborhoods. Why is there no crime? Black people have money. You go back to the pandemic. One of the lowest crime years on record is, I'm gonna get right to you, caller. One of the lowest crime years on record was 2020, 2021. What happened? People had stimulus money. When people had money, people didn't commit crimes. Black people don't commit crimes unless we're in poverty situations. Poverty is the root of our crime. But as long as you listen to, if you stop listening to the rappers, and the rappers is the reason why we killing each other, well, what about movies like Die Hard? What about Lethal Weapon? What about John Wick? What about all these money? What about Bugs Bunny cartoons? What about Wile E. Coyote? What about Elmer Fudd and that shotgun he carried around? We don't commit crimes when we have resources. That goes back to this right here. Going back to knowledge, the Moynihan Report. This is the report of the Negro family in the case for national action. This Moynihan report shows, this report done in 1968, 69. When black people have resources, we don't have problems. We have problems when we're under-resourced. So what happens when you make all the music about resources? I got more money than you. I got more clothes than you. I got more hoes than you. People get jealous. What happens when people get jealous? White, black, Asian, Latino, whatever color. What happens when you are jealous and somebody got resources and you don't? What's going to happen next? That's why you got people killing each other. What's up, caller? What's the name where you calling from?
Hey, what's going on? This is Rick from St. Louis.
What's up, my brother? St. Louis, what's on your mind?
All right, yeah, I just want to, I agree, man. I think Dee-1, these are options. I would even say Andy Irie, and let me explain. She's been in the game a long time. She already know about Clive Davis and all the people, the owners, and all the game that spy behind the closed door. She never really addressed the shit or been emphatic about it for the longest. She already know by already putting out her disdain of a song or something like that, she's going to get some form of attention, whether good or bad, to bring to her. She could have called that girl on her own. She know how the industry is. Call that girl on her own. Talk to her personally about that, something like that. because you already know you can't talk to certain youngsters any motherfucking way. She's supposed to be wise about that. You see?
I got one pushback to that. You know, here's why I can't put NDRE in that. You know why? Because NDRE called out Clive Davis before she called him out, old girl out. You know that, right? NDRE called out Clive Davis right when he died, and that wasn't the first time
when he died.
But that wasn't the first time. When she's been, because her career got shelved. She's a victim of Clive Davis. When Clive Davis brought out what's her name, Alicia Keys. Alicia Keys was a Clive Davis product to combat NDRE, like literally. I've done classes on this. NDRE was, the black girls were listening to "It's Not About the Price of My Clothes," "It's Not About the Hair." They were listening to Jill Scott. They're listening to Erykah Badu. Then here comes Neo Soul Light, Alicia Keys, and NDRE's career was hurt because of Clive Davis. Clive Davis put roadblocks in her way, and she was vocal about it. That's part of the reason why her career took a downfall. So no, NDRE for the most part talks about the powers, and when it came to old girl Young Miami, she didn't say boycott the song. What she said was there are people out there that don't want to be saved. That was her point of view. Her point of view wasn't boycott the song. Her point of view was maybe I should back off because there are people out here who don't want to be saved. And that's true. But no, I can't let that go by. She definitely called out Clive Davis when he lived and when he died.
Oh, okay, well, I'll step back on that. But as a whole thing, they need to. I still look at it like this. She's still going after a peon.
She's not a peon. No. We can't do that. We can't do that. This girl got the hottest song that's out right now, and she was just calling herself Diddy's cum bucket 2 years ago.
No, when I mean by peon, I'm talking about people who actually have power in the game to even push that type of music out in the first place.
But that's who she's going after. She's going after the power.
What I'm saying is, well, Miami, she doesn't have the power to push her own music out.
NDRE's not going at Young Miami. She's going at the content. Young Miami just happens to be the vehicle that pushed that content out.
We're gonna go by content. Now you'll listen. I listen to all types of music. I even listen to
it's not about
music and all that stuff.
Let's stay focused. Let's stay focused. It's not about me or you.
This is what I'm making a point. I'm talking about the male music that I have listened to all my life, from positive to the most negative shit in the world. I know shit that's super way worse than that. So we try to use a song that says it's going to destroy a culture in the neighborhood.
That's not what she said. That's not what she. But you keep. What you're doing is you're making NDRE say a whole bunch of stuff she didn't say. She didn't say none of what you're talking about. And I'm with you, brother. But you got to go back and listen to what she said. She didn't go at.
Maybe I'm going after other.
She didn't go at Young Miami. She didn't say you shouldn't listen to the song. She talked about the power of words and how these words and how we as black people are perceived around the world based on our music, and that is a fact. Because this goes back long before NDRE was born. Black people, when the other parts of the world see us out, because the media is going to show us as monkeys and gorillas. The thing that's shown us humanity across the world since the recording industry has been the grace of Duke Ellington, Michael Jackson, Prince, Count Basie, Stevie Wonder. It was those images of black Americans that counteracted the propaganda that America was putting out there about us. People were able to see that the propaganda about us wasn't true when they saw Duke Ellington, when they saw Michael Jackson, when they saw Prince. So what she's saying is she's speaking to that. And that is true. So if anybody does that song, not named yet, whoever does that song, we as black people, we have always had a culture of elders who have told us, no, that's too much. Ruth Brown, when she came out with 51015 in 1946, you had the black elders saying that song is about sex. I don't like it. Don't put it out there like that. We've always had a culture of checking each other because music, we are the gatekeepers of music. So we have, to much is given, much is expected. So since we are the gatekeepers, the vanguards, the creators of music, God gave us that powerful tool. If we don't police it, nobody else will. Because they can't do it.
Well, can I give you a spiritual opinion on this, basically? That from my point of view, how I'm seeing this and what I've learned from this. Based on the degeneration, what we call degenerate music, the low down energy, low frequency, even them changing the beats and all that shit or whatever. What I've come to realize spiritually, even with all the positive songs we had in the world, they still treat us the motherfucker same. We're going to hold that part. At the same time, the kids, the youngsters, the YNs, it's kind of like they have a clean slate not listening to the adults now, because we done took on all these forms of religion, government, politics, and everything. And these youngsters see the pure contradiction and hypocrisy in the adults. So they saying, fuck them. Because they not even holding them accountable. They letting these people steal trillions of dollars, money hoard, put poison in our food, all types of shit. And the kids looking like, well, what the fuck you talking to me about? Well, because I'm sagging some pain.
Before we go too far at the wells, you're conflating what we can't control with what we can control. We can control the music. We can't control what they do with the oil in Afghanistan. We can't do nothing about that. But we can't control what we say. We just trying to police the.
Well, there's a lot of things we can control.
This is all of
drugs in the neighborhood.
We can't control that. We didn't know. No, we can't control that. When they came and dropped that crack in the neighborhood, that wasn't our control, man. That was the CIA.
Well, I know I know the Ronald Siegel. I know they created UCLA and all that. But what I'm saying is, we was still more of a unified people, at least at that time. But we still took in the dirt. We still took in the bullshit.
No. We had the same fight. There's always been a fight between civil black society and underground black society. And civil black society, for the most part, kept winning up until the mid-90s. It flipped in the 2000s when these other people, again, when the media got control of our images, that's when the negative side of black society went to the forefront. Before the 96 Telecommunications Act, before they got control, before it became this autonomous thing where it's just 4 companies deciding all the images, when we had our own magazines before they got bought up, when we had our own stuff, we as a culture, we as a society were always on point about what we put out there. That's why the Cosby Show was the #1 show. That's why Fresh Prince was the #1 show. We were always like this. It wasn't until them white folks got control of our depictions that the shit flipped. We got to remember that. But I got people calling the hell on my phone. Thanks for giving us a call, my brother.
Appreciate you.
That's why we got to listen, folks. We've always policed ourselves because we are very classy people. We invented catering. We invented ice cream. We invented the elevator door. We invented the gas mask. We invented the stoplight. Do you not see the connection between our inventions and our levels of class? The running toilet. We're the ones that taught these motherfuckers that came over through Ellis Island how to bathe. We've always gate-kept because, to much is given, much is expected. We are the vanguards of music. We can't go around talking about something, we the best, but not want to take the responsibility of being the best. Get that LeBron James shit out of here. Where you get to be the champion when you win, but it's everybody else's fault when you lose. That shit only works for LeBron. Everyone else, you got to be able to stand up on your shit. What's up, caller? What's the name? Where you calling from?
My name D, calling from Los Angeles, man. Thanks for having me.
What's up, D? What's on your mind, my brother?
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? Have you ever noticed for like over 20 years, NWA has been used as a scapegoat?
Right.
People to promote their so-called righteousness and self-righteousness. It reminds me of that movie CB4 when the young kid or the politician was a fan of CB4 and he seen how he was a fan and that light bulb came in his head to use CB4 to gain political voters to go and basically be on his side when it comes to his cause or what, so not using them. That's what Dee-1 kind of come off as, and that's how NWA acts.
It's fake.
Like, if you kind of notice, it's fake. It's fake. If you notice, I call it the boys in the hood theory. you know, in the Boys in the Hood, they always highlight, you know, Doughboy and Ricky getting shot, but they don't highlight Furious talking about gentrification, how he raised up his sons to be raised up his son to be a good citizen, or they don't talk about how black folks is actually communicating in the neighborhood and showing unity amongst each other, despite the violence at the time. So yeah, and like you said, that's crazy you say about NDRE. She definitely been calling it out. Matter of fact, she was one of the first few people in the neo soul to actually call out the nonsense that was going in the industry wide at that time. So you definitely right. So, but like you said, it's always been like that. You know what I mean? We always been used ever since we came. We've been used as a scapegoat. But I ain't trying to put Schoolie D out there like that. But every time we talk about gangster rap, they always put Schoolie D like, yeah, we started gangster rap. We started gangster rap as a sign of bragging rights and pride. But when it comes to NWA, now we the ones that started the destruction of gangster rap when Schoolie D and countless of others rapping about the same thing we was rapping about. Gang banging, representing gangs and what's so not. So that's basically what it is. It's basically what it is. And I'm going to say it like this because I know you got a gang of callers. I don't want to hold you up. But have you ever noticed Dee-1 calls out the rappers, but he don't call out these churches that have been exploiting the black community for years. All these pastors get caught with these scandals and these schemes, and all these other companies that have been somewhat praying and messing up black people and gentrification and what's so now. He always want to call out the rappers, but he don't want to call out the other entities.
He don't want to talk about what's going on in the church.
Exactly. He don't want to talk about that. He don't call out none that goes on in the church. But I know you got a gang of callers because I want to hold you up, so I'm going to let you have that. Sorry if I overtalked you.
No, you good, man. You always good when you call, man. Thanks for giving us a call, brother.
No problem.
Yeah, man. Like, here's the thing. You call out NWA, but you don't call out the Godfather. What's the difference between gangster rap and casino? What's the difference between gangster rap and the Godfather? What's the difference between gangster rap and Scarface? Huh? What's up, caller? What's the name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's going on? LC from LA, Crenshaw District.
Yes, sir. What's on your mind, my brother?
Man. Hey, I'm so glad you speaking on this topic. I heard you mention the NWA record, Straight Outta Compton, and how it had a social-political message behind it. Now, you know, me coming to age, well, not really, like when I started like becoming 19 and 20 and everything like that, I really started like looking into like all the older records and everything. So I listened to the NWA record, and then I listened to the EP, the 100 Miles of Running, and then I heard the second record, You Feel for Zacking. And I noticed it was a whole shift when Ice Cube left the group, where all that social political stuff was just out the door. And by the time you get to the E Feel for Zagging album, you just only hear one record, which is the Niggas for Life song. That was the only possible social political record that had. Everything else was just like, it was straight raw and gangster and killing, dope dealing, this, that. You know, it was like, it seemed like it was a possible concentrated effort to like push that on to the, you know, masses, like how they use NWA to like, okay, they did this, but now there needs to be a way to like push this, you know what I mean? Because like you said, that Straight Outta Compton record, that was a real eye opener. How, you know, they talk about like certain things when it comes to like the community, right? Like even with a song like a Bitch Is a Bitch, right, with Ice Cube, I remember hearing that when I was a teenager, right? Because when you hear when you see the record, you know, you would think, you know, it'll be like some misogynistic type of record, but actually Ice Cube was really laying down a whole lot of truth and wasn't even being disrespectful. And on top of that, Yeah, and on top of that though, besides that NWA Strata Compton record, I'm gonna give an honorable mention to this Ice T record or the OG album. That has to get an honorable mention because that record right there, it talked a whole lot about a lot of stuff that wasn't really being talked about. I mean, I done heard Ice T talked about child abuse. You know what I'm saying? What should be done?
It talked about everything, man. It talked
Yeah.
about it all, man. But I got a bunch of people calling in, man. Thanks for giving us that. Yes, sir. I'm going to what he said. So here's the thing. If you go back, while we talking about NWA, let's go back to 1989, 90, 91, 92. Ice Cube did No Vaseline. Even before No Vaseline. Who did the people choose? NWA had 100 miles of running, but the greatest 4-album stretch in hip-hop history that people argue about, one of the greatest 4-album stretches was Ice Cube. America's Most Wanted, Death Certificate, The Predator, and Lethal Injection. The battle between Ice Cube and NWA, Ice Cube won the battle. Lest we forget that. The dominant voice in hip-hop in 92 wasn't NWA. It was Ice Cube. When Ice Cube was telling us to burn this motherfucker up. When Ice Cube was telling us about Black Korea. When Ice Cube was telling about I Want to Kill Sam. When you go back to the fight between NWA, when Ice Cube left, and Ice Cube, the people chose Ice Cube. The people. And NWA went into disarray when they broke up. Started fighting each other with Dre Day and Eazy-E going at each other. The winner of the battle was the people chose Ice Cube. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? I was there. I was there. Between the two, people chose Ice Cube.
One of the greatest sport administrations is Ice Cube.
What's up, caller? Please mute me in the background.
Yes, sir.
The Predator and Lethal Injection.
What's on your mind?
Yeah, really, I really appreciate this. Oh, by the way, this is Chris calling from Baltimore, but I'm from New Orleans originally.
Yes, sir.
Putting this whole thing in just perspective, the rapper Dee-1, he's 41. He was in preschool, maybe, when NWA came out. So he got a skewed view and revisionist history about how this music really affected the culture. And what was happening in Los Angeles was actually the opposite was going on in New Orleans. The murder rate was actually rising in that time because we were becoming a murder capital, quote unquote. But also, he didn't know nothing about that, and he don't have no facts to back out any of his statements. Like you said, he going off his feelings. He feel like, as a person who was literally off the porch when that was happening. Look, I was like, man, look, the first NWA record spoke to what I was seeing, and the second NWA record, not counting 100 Miles and Running, but the Niggas for Life record was speaking to the nihilism that was happening. And of course, with the exit of Ice Cube, you didn't have that social political commentary anymore, and so he's not really speaking from a legitimate space. I respect the brother, but we got to start dealing with facts and what's true and what's real, and not just how we feel, not just feelings, man. It's detrimental overall to the community, because the sister India.Arie, she's an elder stateswoman. She's supposed to check her. That's her job. That's her position.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. That's the women. People because I heard some people talking about is it misogynist? Everyone's attacking Young Miami because there's a woman. Oh, India.Arie this. No, the women in any society, Women dictate the culture of a society. Men
Yeah,
protect
the culture
society.
does. Absolutely.
Men protect society. Men advance society. Men build society. Women protect society. Women nurture society. Women cultivate society. So that's part of the role. That's why they want to get rid of all this gender stuff, this non-gender conforming bullshit that they pushing, which is nonsense. Everything on earth is gender. You need a socket and a plug for a light to come on. The women's role is to protect the culture. So we've always had our Felicia Rashads. We've always had our Ella Fitzgeralds. We've always had these women, the Ida B. Wells, who say no, 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 no. We go to your family reunion. We're gonna be at black folks gonna be at family reunions all summer and throughout the summer. The most I'm sure you feel me on this because you was around in the 80s. The most gangster of gangster knew if Sister Maybelline was around, pull his pants up and talk straight. Am I lying?
You got to get yourself together when them elder women come around because the community, especially them old school gangsters, was gonna get with you and hold you accountable.
Right. The gangsters will get at you if you didn't respect Big Mama.
Exactly. So yeah, brother, thank you for this conversation and putting this stuff in perspective. As far as Uncle Luke, he sometimes we just got older than our elders. But the brother D1, I appreciate his intentions, but you gotta speak from what it is and not what you want it to be and what you feel like. That's this because this is still gonna lead us down a bad pathway. All right, brother, I appreciate your time and your energy.
Real talk, man. I appreciate it, man. You have a good one. One, sir. Again, remember he said, I feel like the murder rate went up after NWA came out. But as you see here in Los Angeles, California, where Straight Outta Compton was talking about the culture of Los Angeles, you see the murder rate actually went down because LA got resourced after the riots. After the riots, we got resources. And when black folks have resources, we don't shoot and kill each other. What's up, caller? What's the name? Where you calling from?
What up? Dewan, this Shango from Chicago, big bro. Shout out to you for doing this. Shout out to the family in the chat. I want to definitely piggyback off of what you just said before I got on. They try to paint it like hip hop and black culture in general is all negative, especially tethered and sound bowls. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been hearing little murmurings like, oh, well, our culture, whenever we try to correct our culture, you guys always bring up the white man. It's like, dude, do you not understand how tied everybody in this country is? Like, they love to pick and choose, the influence of such and such on who and who. You know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, we've been around Europeans since what, 400 years?
400 years, yeah.
Yeah, of course we're going to have some kind of overlap to a degree, and there's going to be negative things, too, that pop up because they economically sabotage us every single step of the way. So, it's not like, oh, we're bringing it up just because we want to deflect. No, we actually want to get it together. The problem is y'all are a bunch of buck dancing sambos, and you're trying to use this quote-unquote community critique and rap critique to attack your own people because you're traitors. That's what it is. You got to check the intention.
To go on what you said, you said you said some real shit though about as far as them like him coming to attack his own people. It's like, bruh, there's more to this dynamic than what goes on in rap. And although I agree with him from the point of view of, yes, we do need to hold the rappers accountable 100%. You cannot, but there's no way to fix it if you say, okay, but we're not going to hold the record labels accountable, because who owns the record labels, brother? White folks.
Right.
And I'm going to say this to you, then I'm going to let you get the last word. This is my litmus test. This is why I tell people. This is the reason why you can always go back and honestly blame them and don't think twice about doing it. Just go back to when black people had our own record labels and our own means of distribution in the 70s and the 80s. You did not have this problem. When we created our own music, you had Philadelphia International, nothing but positive music. The OJs, the Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, songs like the Backstabbers and songs. That era that hip hop samples from today comes from an era. It was one of two things: either we owned the music outright, like the Isley Brothers and Frankie Beverly and Mays, or we worked for a white label that left us alone. The Ohio Players, Al Green, they left us alone. When we were left alone, we did not have this stuff in our music. It didn't get heavy until they started owning our music and they started controlling what went out and what didn't. You can get the last word.
Right, big bro. I was trying to swear. That's a fact. That's a known fact. But see, they try to hide that truth because you mentioned all the books on your Clyde Davis episode that I praised you for because it was excellent. You broke it all down. There should be no more talking points of we did this to ourselves and that's the only thing they say. No, I understand that there's some accountability we have to have, but you're not talking about the big institutional framework that set this up. And I'm not doing that to try to, distract from what we need to do. No, that's not true. The thing is, we have to watch these people. Who are these people coming around telling us what we got to do and what we ain't doing? Whether they from the lineage or not. I want to know where your background is, man. You sound like a Fed, man. You sound like an op. So I need to know where you come from, bro. Is this Boule Babble I'm hearing? You know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear that because you be the first Negro to turn and cut our throat when we get into a position. The one claiming he's righteous and all this self-righteous, especially from them black conservative cats, this self-righteous type appeal to authority. Nah, nigga, you feel. Never mind. I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna be quiet.
All right, brother.
I appreciate you. All right.
Yeah. Anton Films made a great point in the chat. Salute to you, my brother. I'm gonna answer this call. Hold on 1 second, call. I'm gonna get right to you. Give me 1 second. And please put me on mute. Anton Films made a good point in the chat. He said Dee-1 said it's a red flag when he saw Dee-1 said I'm a Christian before I'm black. Well, Dee-1, that's the thing about it. Christian, if you're gonna look at one, if you can see both sides of Christianity, you should be able to see both sides in this of NWA. Because he said, I don't want to hear about they tried to bring something positive. He said that's what he said. If you can see the both sides, and I'm not here to down anybody's religion. If you're a Christian, as long as you're using your Christian, Muslim, Hindu, whatever you are, as long as you're using your religion to grow from within and be positive from within and live your life, I ain't got no issues with it. But I do have an issue with fake. I have a major issue with fake. You cannot talk about a religion. The reason why the Europeans are in America to this day was because a Christian church said, you have the right to kill anybody that's not a Christian. And that gave them the right to come to the Americas and kill everybody. Not kill everybody, but kill a bunch of people in the Americas because it was sanctioned by Christianity. So if you can see that Christianity, yes, on one end it can save, but on the other end it can destroy, and it's destroyed a lot, you're a hypocrite. You got to at least be honest enough to acknowledge both sides. What's up, caller? What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello, Dee-1. It's Brooke. How are you?
What up, Brooke? That's you calling in. What's going on?
Nothing. You know, I had to, as an auntie, I'm officially an auntie now. You know what I'm saying? So I feel people have to understand it is our job. Now, you know, it is our job to call it out and then give you a hug. Baby, I love you, but I have to tell you the truth. This is how my mother dealt with me. You know what I'm saying? How my aunties dealt with me. This is how the older generation dealt with us. And now it is our turn. India.Arie is at that age as well. It is our turn to have a little bit of correction, to bring morality, to bring some sanity to what's going on. And for all of those who are saying that, you know, we shouldn't say anything, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing warned us years ago, back when I was listening to Little Kim. You understand what I'm saying? And at that time, we didn't understand what she was saying, but we now see what Little Kim begot. You understand what I'm saying? What happens as a result of that climate, of what happened during those times, and where we are now, where that took us, where we're headed. And we have to do something about it. And for anybody who wants to sit here, I don't know how anybody could take Carisha back over India.Arie. This is a young lady, knows number one, who's absolutely gorgeous. I'll be honest. Carisha is an absolutely beautiful woman. But this is a woman who sat on a podcast and talked about she likes to get pissed on. This is a woman who sat on her podcast and talks and in her music talks about she'll do and who basically promotes prostitution, giving it up for money, for bags, which she doesn't even mean because when Diddy had a baby on her, she was upset about it. And if all you care about is bags and shoes, why are you mad that he had a baby with another woman? You still getting your bills paid, right? This is a woman who should not be any kind of anything for our young ladies to look up to. Now, I'm not saying that they shouldn't listen to the music or whatever, but we have to teach them at the same time because this music is going to be on the radio. I can't stop the song from being number one, but what I can do is talk to the young women that are hearing the song so that they can put everything in the correct context. And that's what we as aunties are here to do. Like it or not, I'm going to do it. And when I finish doing it, come give me a hug, baby. Come give me a hug.
Right.
Because I love you.
That's how we do it. Tough love.
That's right. That's right.
That's the only way you're going to know better. Because it's
and
funny
that's
you
how
brought up
it's
Dr.
gonna
Wellesley
be.
because, you know, we were around the same age. I remember C. Dolores Tucker, Dr. Wellesley, and them talking about hip hop at the time and not quite understanding. But it's those words that when I did start to understand, it was their words I can go back to. And I was like, their words were like a timestamp. And now you get to see what happened 10 years later, 15 years later. You'd be like, yo, they was right. And Luke was not right.
No, he was not.
I thought Luke was right in 1990. I don't know more.
Exactly. Because I wanted to, you know what I'm saying? I wanted to dance. I wanted to have a good time. I'm like, oh, don't be a fuddy duddy. Don't be, you know what I'm saying? Stop. I want to have fun. Like I want to have, but I see what the younger generation is becoming. It's getting a little too crazy. And when I used to mentor young women, I would always use Carisha as a example of what not to do. You know what I'm saying? What not to be. And so, you know, and the young women, they would hear this music, but because I was also there at taking every opportunity of whatever was happening in the news, in pop culture or hip hop culture, or you know, what's that show they got? Love and hip hop culture, I should put it. Whatever's going on in that, I use that. That's what my mother used to do to me. Whatever was happening in the world, she would use that as an opportunity to teach me morality, to teach me, you know, the proper way to put everything in context. And that's what we're supposed to do. And that's what India Irie is doing. She's not saying, she's just saying, and look, I don't agree with India Irie on everything because, you know, sometimes she backtracks. Like you said.
I'm not about to sit here and just be like, she's right about everything. Hell no.
Right. I'm not going to say that. But on this one, I absolutely agree with her. We all know, I always like to remind people about, you know, we all know that you talk about this too, that music is spells. And when you're telling, when you're singing a spell like that, you're bringing that energy to your life. So you could be bringing the energy to your life of scamming. And then now your child has to make choices on whether they're going to accept the opportunities that energy that they're putting into the universe is bringing back to them. And they're not going to make the right decisions unless you, as the parent or somebody in their life, tells them the truth about what they are hearing. I can't stop, you know, the record labels. You know, I don't, me personally, I don't have the ability, but what I can do is be a blockade in a child's mind so that they know the truth and that in the back of their head, they're like, just like now, as grown as I am, in the back of my head, I still hear my mama. Don't do that. Why are you wearing that? Don't you need some old clothes on? You know what I'm saying? Like I can hear my mother in the back of my head. And that is what we are supposed to be. That still small voice in the back of a child's mind that kind of guides them in the right direction. And if anybody doesn't understand that, It's too bad. Come give me a hug anyway, because I still love you, but it's too bad. I'm still gonna tell you what I got to tell you.
Real talk, real talk. Thanks like always, Brooke, for giving us a call.
No problem. Thank you for listening to me. I appreciate you. Love you so much. You know I'm always in the chat. Love you. Bye.
Likewise, and y'all follow Brooke's channel, her Instagram, her YouTube. Make sure you put all your links in the chat, all right?
Oh, wait, I have a new channel. You got to mob me on my new channel. I've been in the chat, but I don't think you noticed me. I got a new channel because they shadow banned my old one. So my new channel is at BREUCKS. I just put an S on the end.
Okay, say something in the chat and I'll mod you up.
Okay, thank you. All
right.
Love you guys. Bye. In the
Bye-bye.
chat. Bye.
Nah, she's right. Like, we need, I don't, let me say this just straight up. What Trick Daddy and Luke said to Indy Irie, it makes me not respect them. And let me tell you why it makes me not respect them. I'm going to get right to you, caller. Let me tell you why I don't respect them for that. As men, part of being a man is staying out of women's business. When you see a woman correcting a younger woman, as a man, that is women stuff. The major issue we're having right now is because we understand women don't listen to men. Too many of our women done got caught up in that feminism shit, and they think if a man talk, he ain't talking about shit. So, cool, whatever. What we need as a society is to have our women speak up more. And when an older woman is checking a younger woman, as a man, you stay your dumb ass out of that. The same way if an older dude is going after a YN, you stay out of that. Women stay out of men's business. You don't step up and talk about a woman that's correcting women, you fool. That's what a functional society does. The women check the women and the men check the men. You sorry sons of bitches. What's up, caller? What's the name? Where you calling from? I see who's calling in. The person calling in, we call right back after this caller. But I'm finished this call first. What's up, caller? What's the name? Where you calling from?
My name is Kimberly, and I'm from Kansas.
Kimberly from Kansas. What's on your mind?
Dee-1, this is my first time calling into your live, but I had to call in to speak on this subject. One, because I'm a substance abuse counselor, been doing it for 20 years, and I understand that the music that is in this generation is a big factor for our younger generation. But the biggest thing that concerns me is what's underneath, not only the music, but our culture. You know, I was born in the late 70s. My mom was, smoke crack and stuff like that. And so I had to get it out the mud. And when I had my own kids, you could teach them in the way that they should go. But when they get out in the streets, the street is going to teach them. And so whether it's to how to make money or to numb, use drugs to numb, that's what they find as comfort. For me, I can't speak for nobody else, but what I can say for our culture is we got to look at what's underneath all of this, not just judging people for why they like certain music, why they're using drugs, why they're not educated like they used to be. We have to take some responsibility in that instead of just saying we should do better. How can we do better? Mm-hmm. What are our children missing? What do they need? Because we got young kids raising young kids. So you can't ask somebody to, a young kid to be a 40-year-old with common sense when they weren't taught to be better. You know what I mean?
And that's why it takes the community, and that's why I do the work that I'm doing here of highlighting our culture, because our culture is so close, but our culture is so lied upon. We tend to believe the lies. And in my days working in mental health, when people believe, when I saw them work with them boys, and they would believe that, okay, I was just a slave, and then Martin Luther King and Michael Jordan is the only good black person that lives. They don't act. They act. The behavior goes the way it goes. But when you fill them in with more information on culture, more information on who they are as a person, and who they are, and teach them the responsibility that they have, especially as a young black person. I saw all the time. I saw behavior switch all the time just by implementing culture.
Yeah, correct. And
That's
and
how
and,
you
and
fix
it's
behavior.
exactly. And then to look at, you look at the little kids, but you also have to look at the mindset of the parents. Because a lot of times, and I learned this from my own mother. My mother you will be 67 years old, but she has a mindset of a teenager, and it's because she used drugs for the majority of her life. You know what I mean? And didn't go to therapy and stuff like that. The only reason I was able to change the generational things that I'm changing right now, not saying that I'm perfect, not saying that my kids are perfect, but they have a foundation now to set forth different avenues from what I grew up in. Is going to therapy, figuring out why I'm depressed, figuring out why I'm using drugs to, feel this way, why I'm out in the clubs, listening to something that ain't gonna get me nowhere. Sometimes it's just a means to an end. I look at this, spin this, what is her name? Young Miami, spin that. I look at that song and I look at, if she didn't have the rap music, where would she be? Underneath that, you know what I mean? Would she be able to be a doctor? Did they teach her how to do something different? You know what I mean?
Hell no, her
I
mama
think
was a
it
criminal.
goes.
Her mama was a criminal that was involved in somebody dying. But I have
So
another person
what?
calling in. I got to get to.
Okay.
But no, I'm
Well, I
glad you brought that up.
appreciate
Thanks
you.
for giving us a call. I appreciate that.
Appreciate that. All right.
Yeah,
Thank you, Dwan.
appreciate you. All right, caller, call back. Call on back, caller. I can only take one call at a time. This thing sends everything else to voicemail. But you're right. Culture is everything, and what you teach these kids, and what do they know? What do they know about themselves? But going back to what we was talking about, call on back. I'm gonna keep the phone line open until you call back. Yeah, we see, the thing is, degenerates just want to be degenerates without saying anything. You gotta say stuff. Like, I remember, and you can't be afraid to be checked and to be reminded. I remember one night I was on live and I was loaded. When I do my late night lives, I like drinking when I do my late night lives. For me, my late night lives just talking to y'all the way we would talk if we was in person together. But one time I had some good drink, and my brother King Simon texted me. He was like, "Man, remember your numbers and certain things. You're an 8 and blah blah blah." Not to get too deep in what he said, but he didn't down me. But he's like, "Brother, watch this, watch that." And I told King Simon I appreciated him for that, because we don't have it all together. We don't have it all right. And sometimes you need your elders that have been around the block a few times. Even though I'm older, I still got people older than me. I got that, and they got to come in and say a word. We need that. That's how we become better people. What's up, caller? I think I know this is, but state your name, where you calling from.
Oh, Lord. Dewan, it's me. I'm calling because I think I want to invite you to have a larger conversation with me and Wolfgang, because since everyone seems to be so hot about this, I think we should have a more expanded conversation.
I'm down.
So I know who to have get in touch with you. And let's set this up, because I really think, and it might not be a bad idea for us to do a joint stream, so that both of our communities could be involved at the same time, because I'm sitting here listening. And by the way, kudos on this conversation. I was curious to see where this was going, and I'm listening to what everyone is saying. And by the way, this is Jaguar, right? So, first things first.
Yeah, that's Jag. That's the legendary Jag. Yes, it is. But go right ahead. The floor is yours.
First things first. Nobody's paying attention to the play, and nobody's paying attention to the fact that all of these antics are plays being ran to create create engagement in areas where people are not being engaging enough. Like all of this stuff is a play. First things first, I was pissed off when India did what she did because she chose to be troll food. Because essentially, I knew that this was coming. When I saw what she did, I'm like, okay, yeah.
They about to come at your ass.
No. But
No, her. I'm talking about her.
I knew they were coming for her.
Yeah.
But I watched the play and I said the Wolfgang, I was like, all right, this is the key. This is going to let me know what she's really all about. Because if she really wants to have this conversation, this is 10 toes down. Yeah, I said it. I'm not backing down from it. And who, for real, in this community is going to support what I'm saying? She didn't do that. She fell back on her heels real fast. Like I watched her when she jumped on the X post. I saw it when the dude said to boycott, and then she jumped in there and she commented. I was like, oh yeah. All of the trolls is going to say she was the one that did it. They did the same thing to me when I shared a post from the Barbs, when the Barbs wanted to boycott the Roots picnic because of the Jigga Man. I shared what they did and said, let's have a conversation about it, and asked, why is nobody serious about promoting this, regardless of who it is or who it's coming from? And people said, Jaguar Right wants to boycott the... I didn't say that, but I knew they was going to say that. See, the difference between me and in India is I'm going to stand on it. I'm ready to fight for that point.
Yes, the hell
I'm
you
not
will.
looking to stay. I'm not looking to stay in good graces with anyone. And yes, India has spoken up, but she's been a little polite. And I'm not going to say too much about India because this isn't about me jumping bad with anything. What I will say is there's a difference between someone who is still trying to be in the good graces of the industry and somebody who is giving it the perpetual middle finger and willing to challenge it at every turn.
Right.
This was all for engagement. And I don't think anybody's missing that. The simple fact that Luke jumps into the conversation and brings Jill's name into it, they need to bring Jill's name into it because ain't nobody talking about Jill. Don't nobody give no damn about Jill. For real.
So
she got that BET award and ain't nobody talking about her. And it's funny because for him to sit up there and line her up with India Irie, that's kind of stupid. Jill Scott got as many sucking dick songs as a Young Miami anyway.
Oh, she got plenty of them. Crown Royal on Ice.
So let's stop. She's talking about wanting to be people's whores. Less than 10 years ago, she was sitting there jacking off on an imaginary microphone, pretending it was a D. She was.
I was at that show at the Hollywood Bowl. I was there.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, come on. She was getting on stage talking about she wanted to be Felicia Rashad and Gloria and what's her name, Vanessa Del Rio, and like, ain't nobody making that kind of mistake.
And remember when her pictures leaked?
Yeah. Oh, you mean when she put those pictures out? Because I know she put those pictures out. And I stand on that. She leaked those pictures of her very long hair. No, she lied. She was doing it because she was losing publicity. She wasn't nobody talking about her. Every time nobody's talking about her, they do something like this.
Yeah, all this stuff is a play.
She is a part. They're all a part of this machine. And look at what it's done. It's created what? Conversation. This is what they do. Mm-hmm. Now people who weren't thinking about going to her show, people who weren't worried about it, now they're, oh, well, I should go and support her because they're picking on her. Like, it's all to get everybody up in arms.
I feel you on that, Jay.
Trick Daddy and Luke, Mr. I'm running for Congress.
Yeah, that's nothing. He running for Congress.
I'm running for Congress? Mr. I was at Mar-a-Lago, but I left before because they was trying to line me up with a MIONRS. Like, oh, so you knew they was trying to line you up, but you ain't blow the whistle. So you know that they got minors over there at Mar-a-Lago, but you ain't blow the whistle.
You didn't blow the whistle.
All of these people are extremely compromised. Trick, I don't even understand why anybody's taking Trick Daddy seriously. He is a 60-some-odd-year-old man. I believe he has an autoimmune disease that's taking him down day by day while he's still shaking his pelvis and singing lyrics that no senior citizen man should be saying to anybody above his age group.
Real talk. And
Let's be honest.
it's the
Back
fact.
in the day, let's be honest, back in the day, if we had seen an old dude sitting there on stage pumping his pelvis, talking about bang, 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 and doing all of that, we would have called him the dirty old man, and somebody might have called the police on him.
You right about that. Like, and plus, you know, he got that mortician makeup on his face. I say no something wrong. Like a mortician put that this face. His skin is matte brown. That's how you know something
I
wrong.
mean, from what I hear, he has an autoimmune disease. You know what I'm saying? And it's with an L, and it's about to take his ass up out of here. So they're all willing to do anything. Luke is doing this for the attention because he wants to bring attention to the fact that he's running for some kind of office. Of course, they're all sitting there jumping in bed, protecting the whole Young Miami thing because it's a Florida thing. It's everybody from Florida is, and not only that, they all helped groom this girl to be their replacement since they're getting too old to do it themselves.
That's a good point.
That's the whole purpose of the city
That's
girl.
a really good point.
That's the whole purpose of these young people. Like, come on. How much longer is Trick Daddy going to be able to sit there and prance across the stage like a broken down a mule? Talking about pop, pop, like all of it. He's not going to be able to do that for much longer. Trina, listen to me. She gave it a good shot, but Trina practically built the prototype and taught the prototype to the city girls.
Real talk. That is her project.
That's what they did. Of course, they're going to protect it. It keeps the money coming in, but what nobody's paying attention to, and thank you for bringing up the fact that her mother was a booster. And yes, she was involved in the passing of some unfortunate person. Her mother was a booster. Everything she's saying in this song is everything that she grew up watching her mama do. And by the way, her mother was in and out of jail. A lot. And by the way, she was left at home to take care of her siblings, her mama's brats. She would do anything to not have to go back to Apaloka or Okalaka.
Hey, Jaguar.
Where's she from?
I got a question because it's something that you've seen it from your point of view. But one of my theories, part of my thesis is the record industry. These people, they know who to sign and promote. They looking into backgrounds. They looking to see, this person got a criminal background. Are their parents criminals? You're more likely to get funded if you come from a ball of confusion than if you come from civil society. Do you see that about
broken home? All of that. Listen to me. People keep forgetting about the DeBarge family.
Yeah.
It was easy to get them turned out on powder, thanks to Suzanne DePaz, who took a bunch of broken young people who had been severely abused in their home. They like you. The more broken you are, the easier it is for them to be able to orchestrate what you got going on. They know what you're willing to do. So it's like, I appreciate these conversations, but at the same time, I kind of need people to realize that you were manipulated into wanting to have this conversation.
Good point.
This was all done. This was all orchestrated just for this point. When they start pulling people into arguments who ain't even said nothing about nothing, you got to know it's a play. You got to know it's a play. Now, that's that. Let's get to Dee-1. You know, once upon a time, I was monitoring him. I thought he might be somebody that I might be interested in collaborating with until I found out the real deal. He a plant. I'm saying it. I'm going to put it out there. He a plant. He's a fraternity boy. He's very, 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 very well attuned to how the Masonic order runs. Him sitting over there on Drink Champs, why would Drink Champs bring somebody like him there? They're an entity of Revolt TV.
And you is a Drink Champ bringing on a super Christian. That don't match.
Well, come on. Is he a super Christian? Because a super Christian wouldn't be on that podcast. Let's be honest about that. They promote alcoholism and peer pressure. You're sitting there complaining about NWA, you know what I mean, being the demise of black communities all over America, and you're sitting there on a place that's promoting alcoholism and peer pressure.
And peer pressure, right? We saw Benzino's episode. Peer
This is what
pressure.
they do. This is what they do. They sit there, they get you drunk, and then they ask you a bunch of hot button questions when you've been drinking. The way they handled Patti LaBelle was shameful. That should have been considered elderly abuse.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I ain't like, and then even know the right questions to ask.
Well, no, they asked the questions that they wanted to ask. They
Well,
wanted
true.
to make sure that she was going to be down and loyal to the game. That's what Drink Champs is all about. That's what a lot of these big podcasts is all about. They get people on there to see what they will say and what they won't say, to make sure that they're going to stay in line or see who's about to become a problem. That's what all of this stuff is about. But for him to sit there and have all of this, come on, man. I remember the NWA Project. And the one thing that I loved about them, they reminded me of the West Coast version of Public Enemy.
Mm-hmm.
They were revolutionary.
Mm-hmm.
And they were talking about standing up against the powers that be.
Mm-hmm.
And taking back and claiming ownership of your neighborhood. Anybody who was there would know that.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is why did they have him on that show? What was his purpose for being there? What was the narrative he was brought there to push? And this is why I said I wanted to invite you over to the platform so we could sit down and talk, because I think we need to start just waking people's minds up to the fact that most of this stuff, if you see a thumbnail and a topic that's being pushed heavy on multiple platforms, it's because that's the narrative that they want being pushed. Because the truth is, when people be talking heavy truth and heavy facts, people like you, people like me, they do whatever they got to do to shut us up. I saw what they was doing on your broadcast the other day when you had the young lady up talking about the harassment and all of that.
Yeah.
I had to log in and log out 2 or 3 times to get the audio clear. I was watching them.
Yeah, they was scrambling that audio like crazy. I went and got a new mic cord because the thing is.
I know. So it's like, I just want everybody to appreciate the fact that when they're coming here and sitting here and having these conversations with you, this isn't just about talking about what they're pushing out there. It's about getting to the heart about why it's out there, why they're doing what they're doing. I wanted everyone to make sure they left with that on their mind. Dee-1 sitting here having this conversation with you isn't about gossiping the points, isn't about even defending anything. It's about getting you to open your mind and be critical thinking. Why are we talking about this? What's the real point of all of this? What are they trying to push?
Mm-hmm.
What are they trying to make you believe? And most importantly, what are they trying to get you to forget?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They spend a lot of time trying to make people forget things.
They really do.
So this way, they can rewrite the narrative of how they want it to go. There's so many people that have spent so much time trying to disappear my history and who I am and what I am, and I know why they do it. Because as long as you can get people to forget the actuality of what I am, they can continue to keep challenging the narrative and recreating it.
And recreate it. That's real talk. Let's talk. Let's set a date.
Yeah.
Let's set a date. I'm down.
We will. We'll be in touch. We'll be in touch. But I just wanted to say salute. Have a great broadcast. Y'all, I like this little community that we have. It from time to time, yours bumps into mine and mine bumps into yours. Let's keep whipping it up.
Let's keep stirring up, because it's people that out here that want to hear it. They just don't know where to go because of the algorithm. But we collaborate. We gonna make it happen.
I think so.
Yeah.
All right, bro. That's all I wanted. I'll talk to you later.
All right, Jack. You have a good one.
All right, peace.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like people. I look. It's all alleged. I don't know. D1 has probably got great intentions, and he's out here on his own, and there's no battery in his bag. Look, that is very much so quite possible. I don't know, but I do recognize rhythms, and I do recognize patterns. And when you coming around saying, "Hey, look over here for the problem," and that's not where the problem is, and you saying, "Don't look towards the industry," who's paying you to say, "Don't look that way"? And I'm also very, 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 very. That was Jaguar Wright on the phone. For those you don't know, we're gonna collaborate later on this week. And I'm about to get up out of here because I got a meeting at 7:00. For those of you who don't know, I always say this: I always watch out for people. I always watch out for people who lead with their religion first. I'm only gonna take this call because of who calling in. This is probably my last call. What's up, caller? What's the name? Where you calling from?
Scotty Jenkins, 216 Cleveland, stand up.
Scotty Jenkins. I thought that was you, man. Give us the final word.
I just called. Just got on my way to work. Just called y'all as soon as I got. I'm like, oh, Jag on, good. What I wanted to bring to the attention was something that you said a couple broadcasts ago about propaganda and that spin that, and you said look for the nuances and how they start subtly nudging you and pushing you and things popping up. And I'm gonna give you guys here. So I caught this on a particular popular Atlanta podcaster. The name of the thing is In My White Tee, episode 1, Scam Like Lee. Yeah. I took a screenshot of that, and then yesterday after I got the phone with you, a few hours later, I was just scrolling through TikTok, minding my business, and then I ended up getting another nudge. Now I'm not searching this stuff. I'm just scrolling. I Love Boosters, the movie, Khalif Stanfield and Keke Palmer.
Boosters. I remember. Yeah.
I said, "What? Why is this coming on my like it was promoting? It was promotion." And I'm like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "Man, dude, you get to spin that, you get the Scam Like Lee. Now you got the I Love Boosters movie." I'm like, "Yo, Dwayne called all of this, and I'm not searching this stuff. This is popping up in my algorithm." So, but the propaganda is very real. I'm gonna have to catch the beginning of the broadcast when I get in my work truck. But I wanted to run that by you because I'll just letting the listeners know what you were speaking about a few broadcasts ago is very, very real.
It's real, man.
The new push is this scamming culture, and guess what, B1 family? That ain't our culture.
It's not our culture.
Somebody else's.
And they said people don't carry cash anymore. So people aren't doing strong arm robberies. People aren't carjacking because of GPS. So America needs to keep its prisons full. This is a slavery. We always got to remember, America is a slaver colony, and prison is the means in which they enslave people. So they got to keep the crime up. So since people aren't doing the old kind of crimes, they want to encourage you into doing new kind of crimes as they increase the sentencing on these new kind of crimes, and they're gonna give your black ass the highest sentence for this kind of crap. But thanks for giving us a call, dog.
Who's gonna be the leaders of those jail cells and those indictments? Our black asses.
Real talk.
Enjoy. B1 family. I'm out.
Yes, sir. And I'm gonna say this because this would happen. Somebody will say, "Well, a song don't make you rob." That's true. A song does not make you rob. What a song does is it gives you a suggestion. And depending on your economic status situation, depending on other factors in your life, where you are at a particular point in your life, that song will validate. When you could scam it, or you could hustle and grind and get it. If you're on the teeter-totter, And it's not just the music, it's backed with the movies and the TV shows. You're going to see a TV show talking about it, you're going to see a movie talking about it, and then a song is going to come suggested to you. That's how it works. That's how it works. The same way The Godfather came out first. Put out these movies, The Godfather, Casino, Scarface. Let's glorify this element. Then it goes into the music. It's an environment. It's an environment. And music is part of the greater environment. Music is part of the greater environment. Before they start telling you, hey, everybody, it's okay to be gay, and no disrespect to the gay people at all. But when they started having, before they started having boys, kiss boys on camera, they gave you Tyler Perry, a big black man in a dress. Then they gave you Lee Daniels films. No more Spike Lee films. No more John Singleton films. No more F. Gary Gray films. No more Hudlin Brothers films. Out of nowhere, either you gangster 50 Cent, you a tranny, transsexual Tyler Perry, or you are Lee Daniels, and you put that out there, and you put those images out there. Then you say, oh, you have Obama coming around. Well, oh yeah, I think everybody needs to go ahead and get married, and yeah, we need to go ahead and push that lifestyle, and no hate, yeah. Now your black ass civil rights laws being used to pay for people's sex change operations. At least here in California, they are. It's an environment. It's not just the music, it's the environment. And the environment works through powers of suggestion. We as humans learn best through the power of suggestion. Go back and watch Inception. My recommendation is that you watch Inception at least once or twice a year. Because you can't get that movie in one sitting. I've seen it like 13, 14 times, and I'm still learning. 15 times, I'm still learning. Inception shows you how this is done. The Matrix shows you how this is done. Everybody around you is Agent Smith if you choose to be Neo. Neo was a person that says, I'm going to create my own program and not accept the program. And once you've created your own program, you're going to be surrounded by Agent Smith. Agent Smith might be the bum on the street. It might be your boss. It might be your mama. If you watch Inception, you watch The Matrix, you learn how a lot of this in these environmental factors play in behavior. And we're humans. As humans, we are made of atoms. We're made of nature. And nature grows in accordance of its environment. America has created a very rotten environment. All the good jobs are gone. If you black, you don't get good jobs. If you black, you don't get that. Foreigners get a job before your black ass will. So what happens when this happens? When they're giving us drug movies, and then what happened? Crack hit the street. Then the music came. Black folks didn't start selling crack in our music until the late 80s. Oh, about a decade into it. We was a decade into the war on drugs when we started hearing it come into our music. The hip hop was about 10 years late to the crack epidemic. If we're going to tell the truth. Hip hop was about 10 years late. But you send a controlled op out there to blame hip hop and say, I feel, when all you gotta do was pull up them numbers. And you see that the murder rate was already up there. And after NWA, it went down. Let's not look at Oliver North, right, First Enoch? Don't look at Oliver North. No, don't look that way. Don't look at Reagan. Don't look at Bush. Don't look at Nixon. But at the same time, we as a community, we do got to check our rappers and we got to do both. The only thing we can control is us. That's the only control we got. I appreciate everybody that has subscribed. Appreciate everybody that hit the foundation donation. Hit that foundation donation. We're doing a lot teaching the Black American music family history. If you appreciate the history, hit the donate button right now on the fundraiser. All right. I want to thank y'all for chilling with me today. I didn't plan on being on 3 hours, but I got a meeting to get on about an hour and a half, so I got to roll. So I want to thank y'all again for listening. Appreciate everybody that called in. And let's just love each other, man. Keep loving each other. And don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe. Don't go off feelings. Go off information. All right? Y'all have a good one.